What's happening, fam? The book is entitled Lessons from a Non-Custodial Father at Amazon, Kindle, and Create Space. I forgot to say L.A.R movement still moving. This one's entitled The Second Reconstruction. Now, some of y'all don't may or may not know what Reconstruction was. I think it was one of the best um, times in America of black excellence, fresh out of slavery. Brothers and sisters started building their own infrastructure and businesses and schools and towns and that's when the political a lot of there were a lot of senators and representatives that we became part of the establishment per se. We did so good fresh out the gate and was catching up so fast. That's why they instituted Jim Crow. So a lot of the things that we talk about as far as some of the things that happened in the past, a lot of the reasons, um, because of the one of the major reasons for the civil rights movement was Reconstruction, because Reconstruction started Jim Crow, in a sense, you know, Rosewood and Black Wall Street and um, a lot of the government policies like redlining and how they helped the GIs but didn't help all the black ones. All of that came from how fast we moved from slavery to Reconstruction as far as building, because we were skilled. So I think this is the second Reconstruction. As a matter of fact, this is why um, part of the reason for the HBCUs and why people why skilled trades are in some ways secretive to most people, because we were the skilled workers, so we started working just like that. And those skills are what were actually propelled us ahead. A lot of the inventions came from that era. A lot of the companies that are no longer here came from that era. You know, so a lot of businesses started in that era. You know, so why do I say it's the second Reconstruction? Well, part of the political part, well, the major part was Barack Obama, but it was also all these other black mayors in all these numerous cities. You keep seeing, you know, cities where the high schools where black boys and girls are graduating at higher rates. You keep seeing um, black kids who, in some way, keep getting accepted to these quote unquote Ivy League institutions, and some, you're also seeing black people use technology to create business and networking and infrastructure that way. You're seeing people understanding the game of propaganda, and how now people are putting Ameri- American media and law enforcement or the legal system on blast for all of their hypocrisy. You know, so all of these things are going on at the same time, because you're seeing a lot of white nationalists, um, a lot of racism. It's kind of like a second Reconstruction and a second Jim Crow. People forgot they rolled back the voting rights, right? The problem with all of that is you also see the fear of non-blacks, because as much as they complain about what we need to do, they don't want us competing. That's why they do so much to circumvent this being a free market. But it's pretty much coming to an end because of um, the government incompetence. So this place is going to be forced into a free market from its poverty, plus automation taking over after a while. But in this particular part, the creativity is becoming evident because even in this small world of YouTube, there are a lot of black people who create a lot of great content. A lot. There are a lot of black people who have other websites outside of YouTube, who have created things outside of YouTube, who have started businesses, outside of YouTube. Um, so you see people now being very multifaceted, and you're seeing people become more aware of the struggles that they face and the struggles their kids face and the things they need to do to get through that adversity. And because of that, the next thing that's going to wind up happening is we're going to start breaking bread with each other. We're going to start getting accustomed to spending our money with each other because you know that's what broke down um, part of our problem at first. The first Reconstruction, we had no problem with that. Somewhere along the lines of Jim Crow, um, and even the civil rights movements, there was a point where people just wanted to integrate, and the white man's ice was colder, so that's where they bought it from. Even though the black man invented the refrigerator, which is kind of crazy, but that's what happened. You know, we're starting to understand that we need to take arms. You know, at least own guns. You don't have to, run around like a militia, but at least own firearms. Learn how to defend yourselves. In the beginning, like people have put the world on blast with all of the the videos of brutality and using technology to expose this country's racism, and this country is exposing itself and is delusional to the fact that's what it's doing. Like, oh no, we're just being honest people. Everybody in the world can see that you own one, but that's what it is. But back to the Reconstruction part, you're starting to see um, people taking interest in making sure that other generations have a buffer between and get back, have a buffer between the mainstream. At the same time, it's going back to what it was as far as segregation, because I'm not saying that black people hate non-black people, but we've tried and we see it's ineffective to be messing with everybody else because they mean us no good. Just as far as groups, individuals, that's different. Individuals are pretty cool, but the groups themselves, they mean us no good. So we figured this out, and we're starting to go back to just separating ourselves, even if we're in the same neighborhoods. You know, um, a few brothers and talked about this with all the governmental cuts. The women are gonna have to make the decision to get back with the men, but there's gonna be some women that's left on the wayside because of all of the drama they've caused for the last how many years. Nobody's gonna trust them. But the ones that they're gonna earn God's trust or they deserve God's trust. You're gonna start to see the rebuilding of the black family, which gives added ammunition to make this reconstruction better than the last one. You know. So at the end of the day, I think we're about to turn over a new leaf. I think it's already started. You know, you can see the change. Even though we want to have it super fast, it's not going to happen super fast. But you see a lot of things going on if you're paying attention. So this is going to be a fun, interesting time, and can't wait to see to when it gets all connected and rolling. All right, we out.